find whatever objects or smells or anything you have that really, really grounds you. So today I have essential oil. I like to light candles, incense. Maybe you have like your favorite stuffed animal that you just love to cuddle up with. Maybe you want to use that in our on the ground poses. Whatever you have that makes you feel more grounded and connected to self, I really encourage you to go ahead and grab it. Okay. To begin class today, I'll invite you to join me in a comfortable seat. So your comfortable seat today, that might look like this. Crisscross applesauce. You can also sit up on a block to elevate the hips a little bit more so you can get more of a lift in the chest. But today I'm actually going to lay down. So if you also want to take your breaths to begin the yoga class today on the ground, then please go ahead and join me. I am actually, so that y'all can see me, I'm going to quickly move my mat around, but feel free to start moving into your comfortable seat to begin class. I'm going to start today in not a cobbler's pose. Not a cobbler's pose, but I will begin today on my back, and you can absolutely join me. And actually, I'm going to go this way so y'all can see a little bit more. But I'm going to slowly make my way to the ground. Nice and slow, being mindful of our transitions. And again, you can be in easy pose or any other comfortable pose of your choosing. And so, if you're with me on the ground, I'll invite you to bring the feet about yoga mat distance and allow the knees to just come on in and meet each other in the middle. And I'm going to tuck my shoulders underneath my heart space so that I can have a little bit more of an opening in the chest. And then to make the opening in the chest even more yummy, I'm going to have an outward rotation from the shoulders. So I'm going to really open up my back, but also allow my upper back. I'm going to really open up my upper, I'm getting so zen already. I'm going to really open up my chest, but also allow my lower back to relax. And I'm going to place my one hand on my stomach and one on my heart space. And I'll invite you to take about 8 deep breaths in whatever comfortable seat you've chosen. And let this be some of the deepest breaths you've taken all day. And really try as much as you can to bring as much love in and out of your nostrils as you breathe. As we begin to tap in to our inner awesome hero and relax. And if you're with me, maybe you feel your stomach and chest slowly rise up and fall as you welcome more deep breaths into the lungs and the diaphragm. Now, I hope y'all are still with me. I just had a phone call, so if you're still with me, we are finishing up our deep breath to begin our yoga class. And I'll encourage you to slowly come back into your body. Maybe you begin by wiggling your toes. And maybe you then add your fingertips. And then maybe lastly you slowly bat the eyelashes. If you're on the ground with me, please, 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 if you wish, take your time as we slowly move into our cat-cow. So if you're on the ground with me, like with your knees in, maybe you just heel toe, the toes back together. And then slowly let the knees fall to one side, doesn't matter which side. And slowly roll it over. As you transition up. Nice and slow, like we're moving through water. So as always, you have explicit permission to break free from whatever I'm doing or whatever I'm cueing, to choose any pose that really speaks to your soul. So if you're going to follow me, I'm going to encourage us all to start doing some cat-cow and really, really trying to connect to our core as we arch our back and curve our back. Really bringing the breath too, because that's what really makes these poses feel so much better. So if you're going to be with me, we'll have the wrists underneath. I should mention, if you are doing cat-cow or any pose that is on the hands, a modification that I use very often is instead of being on my palms, I actually come up onto the fists. So you can join me with the fists underneath the shoulders or the wrists underneath the shoulders. Feeling free to give yourself some more space or come in if that feels a little bit better to you today. And maybe having the knees underneath the hip points. As we drop the belly, inhale and look up. Exhale, curve the back. Really pushing up and out of our joints so we're not crashing, but a gentle lift. Inhale as you begin to curve or arch the back. Exhale as we curve down like a cat. And maybe you do one more to even it out. Exhale, come on down to curve your back. Inhale, tabletop with a neutral spine. So from here, I'm going to encourage us to really tap into our core some more. But feel free to omit this if you want to. Still staying in tabletop. I'm actually going to take my socks off. But what we're going to do is we're going to begin in tabletop. And from there, we will lift the knees, letting them hover over the ground and really connecting to our core. Again, you can omit this, but like I said, I want to create a little bit of heat in the core before we slow down with some poses and hold them for a longer time. So again, if you're with me, we're going to begin in tabletop. Come up onto the toes and lift off. 3 breaths, y'all. Come on, we got this. Feeling the shake. Come on, one more breath, y'all. You got this. On your next exhale, slowly bring the knees down. Exhale. Take a child's pose if you like. And if you've enjoyed your child's pose and you want to keep going with me, we will slowly roll up vertebra by vertebra and make our way into easy pose or crisscross applesauce. Making our way slowly into easy pose as we'll begin the more restorative section of our yoga class. Again, I really do encourage everyone to make use of props. So even if you don't have a yoga block, I mean, y'all, come on, my yoga block is chewed up by these beautiful Sphinx cats. But even if you don't have a yoga block, please use a pillow. You can roll up a blanket or a towel. Anything really that's going to help you bring those hips up so you're not stretching and craning so much to straighten your back, but really bringing the ground up. And so I'll invite everybody to meet me in a butterfly pose. So I'm going to turn myself around so you guys can see me a little bit better. But butterfly pose. So sitting on the ground with our knees out wide, almost creating like a diamond shape with our knees. And so you can keep the knees up close for a deeper stretch, or if today you would like to not push yourself so much, but be a little bit more relaxed, that's absolutely awesome too. You can have your feet a little bit further from your sacred seat. So I'm gonna find a nice distance, not too close, so it's like but not too far either. So just having a nice gentle stretch. And I'm gonna encourage everybody to just come on down and massage their feet. And breathing deeply as you do. Now, if you can't pay somebody to bless you with the beautiful massage, well, come on down and give yourself one. Show yourself the love that you want. Let's affirm it. I show myself the love I want and deserve. Really giving yourself a nice massage. You deserve it. I deserve it too. We deserve that. We deserve that love today. All right, once you feel like you've given yourself a nice little massage, I'll invite you to open up the hips by spreading your butterfly's wings. So we can have the hands up on the thighs. You can have them resting on your ankles too. If you have them on your ankles, you can actually use your elbows to press your knees down gently, not too hard. And I'm actually gonna roll up my mat here so that it's a little bit more cushioned. So again, if you're joining us now, I invite you to come join us on the ground in a butterfly pose, gently opening up them hips, but without the struggle. Let's drop that struggle. I know in power yoga classes, it's all about the burn. But today, let's drop that and tap into the self. So a couple more breath cycles here. Maybe you're able to flap your butterfly wings a little bit deeper as we've continued to open up the hips in a gentle but loving way. And bring that beautiful breath. If you'd like to come down more, you can also rest the hands up on the feet. And again, you can use the elbows as an anchor to slowly encourage the knees and hips to come out a little bit more. About 2 more breaths here, guys, if you're still with me. All right, so from here, we'll slowly bring the legs out to form a V. And it doesn't need to be a very deep V. In fact, I would encourage you guys to bring it in a little bit more today. And here's also where I will encourage you guys to use your props to bring the ground up more. So I'm going to actually figure out how I want to position myself so you guys can see me. We're going to be doing some side stretches with the legs to stretch out the hamstrings and the lower back a little bit too. And even if you don't feel it in your hamstrings, that's okay. Just bring your breath and notice how it feels for you. So it might not necessarily feel the same way in your body as it does for mine. And I just thank everybody for bearing with me as I move around so you guys can see me a little bit better. I'm in a much smaller space than normal, but we're gonna make it work. So again, we are on the ground, supported by a block if you wish, and we're gonna be doing some side leg stretches. So I'll invite you to join me with your feet out, shaped almost like a V. And again, doesn't have to be all the way out here. In fact, I really would encourage you guys to bring it in a little bit more and have more of a moderation practice. So now what I'm going to do with some pillows is I'm actually going to prop them. I'm actually going to prop some pillows underneath my knees. And this is going to serve as a way to bring my knees closer to me so I can bring myself in my side stretches a little bit closer to my knees without having to overextend or really push myself to reach it. So I'll invite everyone to find a lift within the chest and a grounding from the lower back. So having these two opposing forces grounding through the lower back to protect the lower back, while also rising and lifting from the chest. And it doesn't matter which side you start on. I'm going to start with my right, but you can start with your left too. And I'll inhale, reach the arm up. And actually, I'm going to start with my left side. So inhale, reaching the arms up. Having a slight bend in my opposite leg as I reach gently over to the side. And we're going to be here for a couple of breaths. So here's why I really encourage you guys to have a moderation practice and not crane your neck all the way up and your arm up, because we're going to be staying here for a little bit longer. And so you want to feel comfortable. And you might also find that as you hold the poses longer, you can go a little deeper. But even if you can't, just go any amount that makes you comfortable today. 3 more deep breaths. Pointing the toes towards the third eye. Maybe on your next inhale, you come back to center. As you find how that pose feels on the other side. So, inhaling, rolling the shoulders up and back. Slowly lifting the arms up. As we exhale and tip over, almost like a little teapot. With a gentle or a generous generous bend in the knees. As we point the toes towards our third eye, and maybe you can turn your chest up towards the sky. And maybe on your next inhale, you come back to center. And I'm going to keep my pillows underneath my knees, but actually bring up the pillow and the blanket for our forward fold. And so I'm just going to pile this on top. Now, this is an extra yummy restorative practice today. So I'm going to use the blanket and the pillow on my thighs so that I can really stretch and fold forward, but without the craning, without the reaching, without the uncomfortableness, but really allowing the props to help me relax and open up in these poses. So I'm going to roll through the shoulders a little bit more. In the opposite direction to create balance. As I find the lift through the chest and fold forward, importantly, from my hips, not from my back, but from my hips, and relax. Folding forward any amount, and we're going to be here for 8 breaths. So really relax, deepen your breath, whatever is going to help you. So maybe you have affirmations in your head, or maybe you just are focusing solely on the sound of your breath. However you're rolling today, I'm going to invite you to relax and restore the body through this gorgeous forward fold. Remember to have a slight bend in your knees to protect your knees. And maybe you're able to flex your toes towards your third eye. Now you can choose to stay in this restorative forward fold, or you can join me in a child's pose. If you're gonna join me, I encourage you to slowly roll up and out of your forward fold. Almost imagine like you're doing it vertebra by vertebra, and really, really feel the spaces in between your spine. As much as that means to you today, maybe you're listening to me and you're like, girl, what the hell are you talking about? Or maybe it sticks with you, whatever. I just encourage you to slowly, slowly make your way up and see how it feels. And we're gonna move very, very slowly. So I'm just gonna very slowly move my blanket out of the way. Move my pillows to the side as I slowly come down for a child's pose. And I'm gonna reposition my mat so you guys can see me a little bit better, but feel free to start making your way into child's pose. And again, just like the rest of this class, I really, really encourage the use of props. So similar to our forward fold, I'm going to use the blankets and pillows to bring the ground up to me, but I'm going to focus it more on my head so I can rest my head. Now, this child's pose, you can choose to have your knees mat distance. So you can have your knees as wide as the mat, and that you might find that gives you a deeper hip opening. Or you can have your knees together underneath the heart space, and you might find that gives you more of a lower back stretch. Again, it's hard to say what poses are going to make you feel what, because everybody has a very, very different body. But if you're going to join me, I'm actually going to have my knees together, and I'm going to have, instead of my hands forward, I'm going to actually have them back. So any variation, there's lots of variations on child's pose. But this is going to be our second to last, actually third to last. So we're going to be here again for a little bit, for about 8 to 10 breaths. Whichever way you choose to modify your child's pose today, just bring that beautiful breath. And if you have your head on one side, in whatever relaxing pose you're in, I'll encourage you to balance it out and switch to the other side slowly. And if you'd like to join me as we move on to the next pose, we're going to make our way back to the ground, back on the ground. Literally, you're back on the ground. As we find some leg stretches before we end our class with Savasana, or corpse pose. So if you're gonna move on with me, I invite you to slowly roll on up. And imagine you're gliding through water as you slowly make your way back on the ground. Now, for these leg stretches, if you have a yoga strap or a belt or really anything like a jump rope, I don't care, maybe you use a scarf, something that you can wrap around your foot and reach towards as we do our leg stretches. So, forgot where I put my mat. So I'm going to bring out my yoga strap, but again, a belt, a scarf, anything that's long so that you can put it on your foot and reach or hold on to this instead of, trying to crane your neck or, have your shoulders all hunched up. No. Let's bring it to us instead of us trying to, rush or hurt ourselves. So anyway, we're going to bring, and I'm going to again have my head facing that way so you guys can see. But I'm just slowly making my way onto my back and have the legs stretched out long. Or you can begin with your feet up. So this next pose can be done either with the knee up or with the legs stretched out. So I think today I'm gonna windshield wiper my legs, my knees from side to side and slowly make my way on down with my legs. And then I'll encourage you guys to take one knee, doesn't matter which knee, and bring it towards the chest as we keep the other leg extended, or remember, we can also have the other leg bent, whichever you're feeling today. I'm going to begin with my right leg, but again, it doesn't matter. So I'm going to bring my knee to my chest, and using my hands, I'll wrap around my shin and just slowly give some little pressure, not too much. Remember, we're not trying to, push or pull anything into place, but really just using our own body as a little assistant to gravity. And maybe you can bring your knee closer to your armpit/chest area, but if you can't bring it that close, that's okay. And we're just going to stay here for 3 deep breaths. Maybe you're able to bring that knee a little closer, maybe not. Next, I'll encourage you to take one of your hands onto your knee and slowly guide that knee across the chest for a twist, a spinal twist. Now you can keep that leg that's over your body bent, or you can straighten it out and see how that feels. And maybe you're able to turn the head the opposite direction. So if you're with me with the right knee over the left side of the body, maybe you're able to turn your head towards the right. However your spinal twist looks like today, if you're in the spinal twist today, I really encourage you to take 5 deep, deep breaths, really sending that breath towards the lower back and throughout the entire spine. And you can choose to stay in your twist or join me as I inhale and bring the knee back up towards the chest. And here's the part that we will use our strap for. So I like to use my strap when I'm doing leg stretches so that I'm able to extend my leg and really stretch out my leg, but also not feel pressured to, hurt myself or try to stretch myself too far. So with our strap, which is underneath my body right now, so with our strap, we'll take a little bit of it and wrap it around our leg. So I'll bring my leg up here so you guys can see. So I'm just going to not loop it, but just have a little bit on across my foot. And so now I have this long piece so that I can focus on really stretching my hamstring. And again, that might not feel, maybe it's not your hamstring that's being stretched right now. But for me, this yoga strap means that I don't have to try to stretch all the way up here and, create tension in my shoulders. I can just use this to reach and really just focus on extending my leg. So here we are with the strap around the foot and our other leg extended or bent if that's how you were, if that feels good for you today. I'm going to keep my leg stretched. And I'll begin by pointing the toe towards the third eye. And I'll have a gentle bend in my knee, and really I do encourage y'all to have a very generous bend in the knee, as today is more of a restorative pose because we will be here for about 5 to 8 breaths. So again, a generous bend in your knee, and your foot doesn't have to come all the way up here, It might be down here, and it might even be all the way over here. However your stretch looks today, I encourage us all to breathe deeply as we try to bring our toes and knee as close as we can, or not as close as we can, as far as we want to today, towards the third eye. And we'll stay here for about 7 more breaths. And maybe you find that your knee can come a little bit closer. Maybe it doesn't move at all. Regardless, as long as you're feeling good, that's all that matters. And safe. Loosening any areas of tension that we notice within the body with our breath. About 3 more breath cycles if you're staying with me. And if you're going to stick with me to come out of this pose, we'll slowly bend the knees and bring the knee back towards the chest. Slowly taking off our strap as we very, very slowly, again, like we're moving through water or jello, slowly extend the leg to meet our other leg on the ground. Woo. And we'll just stick here for 3 breaths, just noticing how one side may feel different than the other. All right, y'all, I will invite you, I messed her up on my, I'll invite y'all to find the same pose on the other side of the body. And as we do the same pose on the other side of the body, maybe you're able to notice how different this side feels, or maybe it feels very similar. Just pay attention as we move through the last pose before we end today's restorative yoga. So again, I invite you to keep one leg extended or the knee bent. As we inhale and exhale, bringing the other knee, the opposite knee, towards our chest and catching it with our hands, maybe cradling the knee, and just bringing it as close as we want to today towards the chest. Breathing deeply. And I'm actually going to move over a little bit because I know we're going to do a spinal twist, and I know that I'm going to need a little bit more time, or a little bit more space. So if you are also in a tight space, maybe you take this time to move over a little bit, adjust yourself, as we find the pose on the other side. And we're here for 5 breaths. And maybe you find that you're able to bring the knee a little bit closer towards the chest/armpit area. Making sure we aren't cinching up the shoulders, but loosening up and trying to release any tension we find in the body. And maybe from here you use your hands to gently guide the knee across the body for another spinal twist. And again, the knee that's across the body can be straightened. You can play around with that, or you can keep it bent. Maybe you find that you're able to bring the left side of the face towards the ground. Doesn't have to reach it. As we take 5 deep breaths here, really sending some love and light towards our spine as we twist. And maybe on your next inhale, you bring the knees back towards center as we prepare for our leg stretch on the other side. So again, we can take our yoga strap or belt or whatever you're using today to create an extension so that we don't feel the need to crane our necks or shoulders, but relax as we find our leg stretch on the other side. So again, a generous bend in the knees. I'm actually gonna fix myself here so I can feel like my hips are squared. But we will point the toes towards the third eye, and maybe you lift the chin up a little bit more. And here we find our breath. So maybe you find that you can bring the knees and the knee and toes closer to the forehead, or maybe it stays like this. It doesn't matter as long as you're feeling good. Whoops. As long as you're feeling good. And we're here for 8 breaths. Maybe noticing how this side might be different or the same. And maybe on your next exhale, you bend the knee close to the chest. Release the yoga strap. And slowly release the leg out long. Ooh. Okay. So, congratulations. You did it! You made it through another yoga class. I invite you to join me in Savasana, so you can take this final pose as, you can take it in so zen. For this final pose, you can find yourself in corpse pose. Maybe you find yourself wanting to take another pose, maybe like a cobbler's pose, or some other variation, but whatever you're feeling today, find a comfortable pose that you can rest in for 10 breaths. That might sound daunting, but trust me, you are a lot stronger than you think. Let's say that. I am much stronger than I think. I am much stronger than I know. I am capable of anything. Because really, what is so impossible, though? Alright, so my final resting pose I'm going to take on my back, but I'm going to keep my knees mat distance and allow my knees to come in again. And for me, this allows me to find a softening in the lower back. So for me right now, I'm feeling like we did a lot of back opening, so I'm really just trying to find the pose that I can really feel grounded. And for me, corpse pose, because I got a big butt, I have a little bit of an arch in my lower back, and so for me, corpse pose isn't always accessible. So today I'm going to take this pose where I can really feel my entire back be flush with the mat and the ground. But again, I encourage you to find whatever pose feels good for you today, because we're going to really sit with ourselves and our breath and enjoy the fruits of our practice and allow any lessons that we learned today on the mat to just seep into us. So I'm going to find my final pose again with this on my back, but I'm also going to add putting my hands, one hand on my tummy and another one on my heart. And you might find yourself in prayer pose or any other mudra. Wherever you are, let us deepen our breath for 10 breath cycles. Softening any areas of tension or places we're holding on. Maybe you slowly bat the eyelashes and wiggle and jiggle your toes and fingertips to slowly bring awareness back into your body. And I'm going to invite you to follow me with a 5-minute silent meditation. Now, if you gotta go, then child, go ahead and go. But if you can give yourself a little bit more time to yourself, let's slowly make our way. Now, actually, you can we can do the silent meditation in whatever resting pose you would like. So if you want to continue in your corpse pose, your cobbler's pose, I cannot recall the name of this pose right here, but if you were following me with this pose or any other pose, you can stay there. But I'm going to slowly heel toe my feet together. And since I came up earlier on the in the yoga class on my right side, I'm going to balance it out and bring my knees to the opposite side, which for me is my left, and slowly make my way up to easy pose. And I do mean slowly. So our silent meditation is going to be 5 minutes of silence. My hair's looking great. It's going to be 5 minutes of silence, which we will end with our virtual Namaste hug circle. Now, I know on Instagram, it kicks you out after an hour, and I'm not sure how long we've been going. But if it does kick me off, just finish your meditation. I'm gonna prop myself up on the block today, of course. And really slowly come into my easy pose today. And I like to use my watch. So we're gonna, if you're joining me for the silent meditation, we'll breathe silently for 5 minutes. And I'm gonna gently bring us back into awareness once the 5 minutes have been up, so that we can end today's class with what Namaste means to me, and a virtual hug circle. So I'll invite everybody to get into a comfortable seat as we begin our 5 minutes of silent meditation. See you on the other side. I'll invite you to slowly bring yourself back into your body. Again, perhaps by wiggling the toes and then the fingertips. Maybe doing small little circles with the neck one way and then the other. Alright, thank you so much to everyone who did this class with me today. We are going to end today with a virtual hug circle. Now, if we were in person, I would invite everyone to come join me in the circle, and anyone who didn't want to be hugged at the end could step outside of the circle so everyone in the circle would know not to hug them. But since we are all on camera or on our phones, iPads, whatever, I am going to say, let's give each other a virtual hug. But first we'll begin with what namaste means to me. So the definition I'm going to use today, I invite you to repeat after me, and you can use it in your own practice. You can share it with other people. You can modify it anyway, and you are more than welcome to find another definition of namaste that fits you. This definition was passed to me through my yoga teacher, and I really do enjoy the way that it uses words, it uses language that is able to be used by anyone. I don't know if y'all can hear this, but the beat is getting nice. So again, I'll invite you to repeat after me, and I'm going to come a little bit closer so y'all can really hear me. I'll invite you to join me with your hands in prayer position. Namaste means, I honor that place in you, which is of love, truth, and light. When you are in that place in you, and I am in that place in me, we are one. We are one. We are one. I'll invite you to join me in bowing our heads. Maybe your third eye reaches your thumbs. Namaste, y'all. Here's my virtual hug for you. And I hope that wherever you are, whatever time it is that you're doing this, I hope that you were able to come a little bit closer to yourself today. Ashe.